It appears that Mike Pillow has been banned from Twitter again, because he was already banned. That means it is time for another episode of Pillow Talk.
God gave me this platform. I already know I'm going to win. China did our vote. Biden and Harris would say, hey, we're here to protect the country, and resign. Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Just forget about the evidence. This was attacked.
Conspiracy theorist MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell was recently booted from Twitter on Sunday, just hours after he tried to join. Why? Because he evaded a permanent ban for spreading all sorts of election conspiracy theories. In fact, here's what he said when he was back. Hello, everybody. I'm back on Twitter. Not for long. My only account is Mike J. Lindell. Please, RT and follow to spread the word. We're going to spread the word. He also posted a video urging people, please share with everybody that you know. Let everybody you know. So we can get the word out at Twitter in case they do take it down. Thanks a lot for helping out. And of course, take it down. They did. The account was shut down after Lindell's attempt to circumvent the ban for lying about the election, of course. I'm guessing that he thought that he would be welcomed back since it was reported that Elon Musk has bought Twitter. I'm sure you've reported on this before. Lindell told the Daily Beast that his ejection from Twitter again was a shame. A shame. And added, we need to melt down the voting machines to turn them into prison bars. You know, probably to hold the Iranians, the Pomeranians, and the Italians. Tom.
I gotta be a little mean to you. You forgot he's a former crack addict.
I didn't forget. Nobody can forget about the crack.
I mean, I think he's on it. I think there's something seriously wrong with him. And it's really sad that we're at a point where we allow this former crack addict to have so much of a platform, like covered like Donald Trump, a pissing puppy in the media, because any normal person would think that this guy is irrelevant. But because he knows Donald Trump and because he's a wannabe millionaire and what is he, a captain in the Trump crime family, he is basically getting all this good press for being an idiot. And they do this all the time, and I just wish we would stop. I wish we would stop giving these people oxygen. Don't kill them. Just stop giving them oxygen.
Well, generally, if you starve something of oxygen, they usually tend to die. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying in a literal sense. But okay, so look, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's not us on the left that are giving him the oxygen. Sure. It's not the left that is promoting him. Remember, this guy and why he's relevant. And I've had to talk about this all the time. He gets brought on by people that have run for Congress and by people who have won seats in Congress. He, like it or not, he is inside the or near the levers of power. And so that is something that is both unfortunate in our society, which you rightly point out, and also a reason why you have to constantly come out and combat these ideas. And that idea, of course, is being that China stole our election, because you still have about half of all Republican voters that believe in the nonsense. And so this is a problem. If you don't debunk the lies, and I understand that is some of the frustration that I've received from my own audience and some of the pushback is, why do you cover him? Why do you talk about him? We all know that Mike Lindell's an insane, crazy person. Why are you talking about him? Because they're in the off chance that there's a right-winger that hate watches this video, or it goes across on our Facebook feed, because Facebook is incredibly wide-ranging. And so what you have is the opportunity to address some of the people that may have heard this stuff. Oh, I don't know. Think of the low information person, which is like, I don't know, Mike Lindell says like the pillow guy and Donald Trump say that the election was hacked and stolen. I don't know. I don't know election security. I don't know these machines, but I heard Dominion was a bad guy. And so when you yes, we're ridiculing him, of course, but we're also pushing back on the negative ideas, the conspiracy theories that he's spreading on this. And I think that is a legitimate way. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm a little full of myself on that one and thinking that I might be having a difference in swaying people or not. But what do you think, honestly?
To your point, I think and I'm sorry if I interrupted, I had a little echo. To your point, I think you're right about that. We do need to continue, because there are people that are leftists, good leftists and progressives,
Yep.
that in Bernie rooms and on Facebook, who, when I post something about Donald Trump, are like, well, why are you complaining about him? He's gone.
But he's not.
And he's not. And that's exactly it. He's not. And he's willing to come back.
Yep.
So we have to be ever vigilant. So I understand your point. But going to get any advice from him is like trying to ask Christopher Moltisanti to get advice on who to pick for the next election. He's going to be wrong. Right. So come to that conclusion and drive that home.
Yeah, and again, that's another reason to point out the absurdity here is that people are actually coming to a pillow man for advice or for their commentary about a serious issue of elections, and he's not just out there, showing up on people's shows or being covered like on shows like this, but he's also doing election symposiums, and so even if we don't cover him, he is still out there doing the damage. And I would think arguably it's worse if there's no pushback on it.
No, you're absolutely right on that point. But I got to remind everybody that this is all paid infomercial stuff. He has literally bought his way into the hearts of the right wing. And if he didn't have that $1 million with all those pillows you just want to suffocate him with, he would not be on the TV. He would not know Donald Trump. He would not be a glimmer in anyone's eye, and we would be better off for it.
Yeah, and you've also kind of, I don't know if you're familiar, I guess, with how the right-wing group, The Family, which has a lot of ties to the prayer breakfast, had seen Mike Lindell, and maybe that's what you're referring to. They saw that he was a mark with money, and were like, why don't we get this guy in here? He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of clout. Whatever clout being a pillow salesman is. And we're going to get him on our side, and we're going to turn his evangelical belief. Because at the beginning, I think Lindell was actually doing something positive, turning former drug addicts and employing them. And I think that's great, for giving people a second chance. And then it's been basically perverted by this right-wing fundamentalism that he is now espousing. And then you're mixing it with conspiracy theories like the election, Donald Trump being this, right-wing messiah, and all of this stuff. And so I think we both have pretty decent points on this one.
No, you're right. And just all I'll say on this to close is that I think it goes to where he, just as much as we cover him, he is literally bought ads everywhere, InfoWars,
right,
and he's paid. It's so paid. He's paying the piss on the media, basically, and it's really sad what the right, and that's a commentary on what the right wing will do for $1.
So actually, I want to segue that into Twitter itself for a couple of minutes. And so I think Lindell is one of many who have been trying to get back on social media now as a result of Elon Musk doing the deal, announcing the deal. And it's funny because they already believe that Elon Musk is running Twitter on the day-to-day when the deal isn't even isn't even closed, isn't even. And by the way, the takeover, the transition will take months and months. And so that's an interesting thing, how they're rushing to do that. And of course, it's had an effect. And the reason that we're seeing people jump back in the platform on the right wing is because Elon Musk is going for basically to try to turn this into Parler, in which Parler you could, up until a certain point, people were posting pics of their own shit to try to win an argument. So the literal definition of shit poster. And so, do you think that that's the direction that Musk is going to take this?
I have mixed feelings about this because in a way, what I'd like to see him do is I would like to see him verify everybody that's human.
Sure.
And I would like to see him lessen ads in the algorithm. He doesn't have to take them away to keep the platform free, but maybe introduce a subscription-based model. There are some good things.
I don't think anybody's going to pay for that, honestly.
I don't think so either, but you never know.
Sure.
I think there are some good ideas that he has about the platform, but the simple fact is, this is a billionaire who doesn't pay any taxes, who just got away with going on a space capsule into the stars and doing all this nonsense. And now he can act like this is a time at the casino, throwing $45 down at the table and hope he comes up craps. I mean, it's fundamentally a scary thing when one person can literally become an oligarch overnight, and that is not what we're talking about. And the right is okay with it if it's not George Soros.
Yeah. Going back to the craps analogy, again, are we turning into Parler here with the literal craps? But okay, anyway. No, it's a good analogy, and it's a really good point, actually, of pointing out how, yes, they want to talk about big tech, and they want to talk about how very few people control all the social medias, but their only problem is they're supposedly liberal, which, by the way, I don't really think any of these social media companies, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc., are at all liberal. They're corporate, and they're mainstream, and their number one goal, as you would point out, is to increase value for shareholders and give them a return on investment, and that's it.
And back to Musk, that I wanted to make this point with him. If this was a liberal, they would be screaming to the hills.
Exactly.
How we need oversight and how we need one person shouldn't be doing this. But because it fits into their prosperity gospel preaching bullshit that they like to do. Sorry if I can't swear on here.
No, go ahead.
That they like to do. It fits in, and they're okay with it. So these are the same people who believe that JFK was coming back and being resurrected. They'll believe that Elon Musk now just somehow controls it because he played craps.
Yeah, and of course that's making all the right-wingers come back. Just one real quick point before we move on. I just want to show you how something weird has happened. Follower accounts. So prominent Democratic accounts have seen massive decreases in followers. People like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, AOC, Nancy Pelosi have all lost anywhere from 5,000 to 17,000 followers on a single day, whereas right-wing users like Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Matt Gaetz, and Ron DeSantis had a huge uptick. In fact, DeSantis got over 96,000 new followers on one day alone. Now, look, I think it could be a case of bots and trolls, of course. That also could be right-wingers going back to, Mike Pillow, thinking, yes, it's an open door. We're coming back, baby. What do you think?
Well,
last thought.
Right, because I don't know if you saw this. I get the Gab emailed newsletter because I belong to Gab out of just spite. And when this was all going down, they wrote an open letter. The CEO of Gab wrote an open letter saying, "We'll give you the source code. Just come by us." And so it goes back to what you're saying.
Right.
Twitter is the big dog. They want to turn it into the Gab and the Getter and the cesspool. And
Despite none of them being profitable or working at all.
exactly.
Weird.
And Gab is deplatformed. They've been hacked. I don't know how many times. Getter has porn and ISIS on it, and Lord only knows about Potter.
Mm-hmm. But well, that's what happens, to cap off your point. That's what happens when you go the quote unquote free speech route. There are reasons, and I say this all the time, there are reasons that you have to have some sort of content moderation. I get where some people feel like, oh, nah, man, that's unfair. Because I've had friends, leftists, who, have been suspended or banned on Twitter. And I get that. And by the way, for some innocuous things or for just a little bit of old-fashioned trolling, right?
Yep.
And I understand that they can be heavy-handed, and I understand that can be unevenly, applied. But at the same time, if you don't have those moderation policies, and if you don't have people that are willing to, apply those, and we do hope they could apply them on an even basis, then it's going to turn into the worst people saying the worst shit. Again, you mentioned the pornography spammers, the ISIS, and then, those are the extreme examples.
And by
the
the
child
way,
pornography being on there, the human feces being spread. And so that is the issue when you don't have any sort of rules. And that's unfortunately what I could see Musk turning this into. Last point.
I'm okay with the pornography on Twitter,
Sure.
with the understanding that if they get shut down, they get shut down. But the way they're going after it is acting as if it's already a cesspool when it's really not nearly as bad as they make it out to be.
I would say Twitter is more of a dumpster fire than a cesspool, but that's just one thing.